Kensington Market has been around since the turn of the century. It's a neighborhood that's kind of resisted some change in terms of, like, if you take a look at Alexander Park, it became a housing development, and Kensington Market didn't. It's traditionally been an immigrant reception area, starter kind of ventures like small shops and food places and clothing places and cheap bars, which have always been a sort of breeding ground for punk rock. So as a result, punk rock has always found a natural home here in Kensington Market. This is the first location of Who's Emma, and I thought we'd start here. It's 66.5 Nassau Street. So here's the former location of the Adrift clubhouse, which was a skate shop that did shows in the back. They had a ramp and consequently a huge open space that shows could take place in. Let's move up. We're going to go just across the street here to the former location of the South African Center. South African Center. So let's go up to the Lions Club, which is just up here on College. We're going to go to the location of Jaw Studios. Actually, was an entranceway where they built a house here, and this is the house. It's just a couple doors in here. But Jaw Studios was just actually a studio, like it was an old, looked like an old garage or something that had. Well, basically people were living in there, and then they turned it. It was initially a recording studio for like reggae dance and things like that, until the punks came along, and then they did this huge New Year's Eve fest. I think like all these things kind of dissolved because of the period of prosperity globally, economically. And now okay, so the LCBO is the location of the first DMZ, demilitarized zone, but everyone used to call it the DMZ. And the DMZ was this location that was run by the Goofs. And one of the neat things that they used to do is that they used to have, you could get in for $1 off if you brought graffiti tools. So if you brought markers or spray paint cans or things like that, you got in for $1 cheaper. Residences of Emma Goldman when she was living in Toronto. I guess.
Here we are. Emma Goldman's house. Wow.
Emma Goldman used to live on the third floor. Who did? Emma Goldman, famous we were doing the punk rock walk.
Hey Jesse, you know who that is? You know Fort Goof. And it's actually that white building there with the white door looking straight in front of us. And I guess this is where the Goofs used to live. And I remember coming here and seeing beer cans, like, if not halfway, maybe all the way up to the thing. It used to be bike rims, and it was basically bike rims and beer cans that would decorate that whole wall there. And lots of parties, lots of crazy stories. The more people I talk to, they all have stories about like how people started breaking into parts of the roof and people were living in different parts of the house. One of the neat things, or sort of notorious things, was during the period when the punks and the skins were pretty much, there was a huge war going on between the two sects. The Goofs were the main initiators on the punk side. They electrified that fire escape so that they could turn it on if anyway. Those times are behind us, but this is the fort. And BFG did put out a record. They put out a bunch of records, but one of them was a double 7-inch. The label that put it out was Back Alley Records, and it was one of the guys in the Goofs who ran the label. This is the reason for the name. We're in a back alley. These are the last two stops. First one I'm going to point out is the place called that we used to refer to as the Laundromat, which is that gray building there, but it was only accessible through the back alley. Yet another back alley. Does anyone know of the band Danko Jones? Their first show was in the Laundromat, and at the show, women spontaneously broke out into a bra burning demonstration as like sort of like a a mockery of pop culture. It was hilarious. It was really good. And a bunch of other shows took place there for a brief period. Last location I'm going to point out is the Simony Club, which was upstairs here, and accessible through that door which says 169 there. And I guess one of the biggest shows that ever took place there was the Poison Idea show. I think it was probably the only time Poison Idea ever came to town, and people were super excited about this, especially the Goofs, because they finally had some stiff drinking competition. And they talked about it for weeks and then as soon as they came into town, they all got pretty loaded. And I guess we thought we'd interfere because this is where the Who's Emma installment is. So
yeah,
unfortunately it's not open.
Yeah,
That's the old sign there.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. Thanks so much, Steve.
I hope it's okay.
It was awesome. Yay. Thanks so much for the zine.
Oh yeah, thanks. I have more if anyone wants
Maybe
to
I'll
take
take
some.
a couple, like definitely for posterity. Whoa! Oh my goodness.